After 15 years outside the sport, Lotus is well on its way to having a car ready for the 2010 season, but this time as part of a Malaysian team. It's part of a shift in the world's most expensive sport that's come about as a result of the global financial crisis. Some of the biggest names in the motoring industry, such as Toyota, Honda and BMW, have been forced to pull out of Formula One as their profits crumble. But taking their place is a range of smaller teams with rich private backers. In the case of Lotus, it's Malaysian businessman Tony Fernandes who's the driving force. He's the CEO of AirAsia, the region's most successful budget airline.
What we're trying to do is actually build a team out in Malaysia. Formula One is not global yet. It's European teams running around the world in various tracks, but it will only become global when there are an Abu Dhabi team, Chinese team.
Malaysian national car company Proton owns the UK-based Lotus sports car company, a separate entity to the Formula One team, but with close ties. And it's these kinds of relationships that Proton has been trying to use to help it build better road-going cars here in Malaysia. This is a Proton Satria Neo. For the price, there are better cars in its class elsewhere in the world. But one thing this car does extremely well is cornering, and that is a direct result of the Lotus engineering that's gone into it. And that in turn comes from the decades that Lotus spent on the racetrack in Formula One. But the costs of running a modern F1 team are enormous. The three teams that have pulled out each spent an estimated $300 million to $500 million a year to stay in the sport, and with mixed results. The new One Malaysia F1 team is expected to spend about $100 million a year initially. Some analysts question whether these investments translate into real gains for ordinary people.
Overall, the benefit to the industry, to the supply chain in the automotive industry is not really that significant. It doesn't create a multiplier effect. It doesn't really create job opportunities for the mass market.
As Lotus and Malaysia strap themselves in for next year's F1 season, some are wondering whether this is going to be one very expensive joyride. Azhar, Sukri, Al Jazeera, Kuala Lumpur.